They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry!
What's up, everybody? My name is Ethan. This is Courtside TV. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe, and let's get into it. So, the NBA season has officially begun, and with that, we have the deadline for players to sign extensions on their rookie deals. This is for the 2017 draft class. So, all of those players from that year are going into the final year of their rookie contract, and they're all eligible to sign extensions with their current team. And so that obviously, there was multiple players who either signed or they didn't. And either way, that's significant because if a player doesn't sign, then that could signal a lot about what the team's future plans are for that player and whether, that player might be traded this year. And if the player did sign, then that obviously, it keeps them around for the long term. Depends on how much money the team was willing to commit to them. But I think the most notable one from this deadline here was that John Collins did not come to an agreement with the Atlanta Hawks for an extension. And this is big news because we know that the Hawks and Collins had been kind of struggling to find an exact number. It seemed like John Collins and his people were really looking for that max extension, and the Hawks just weren't willing to go that high for him. They just decided, hey, you know what? We're going to wait, see how well you play this year, and worst case scenario, they can match an offer in restricted free agency because you'll enter restricted free agency next summer, and they'll be able to, match whatever offer he gets then. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see, how well Collins plays this year and how much money he might command from any other team on the open market, because this is a guy who is coming off a season where he was suspended for 25 games. When he did play, he wasn't the best that we've seen him. I thought he was okay last season, but really I think his peak was probably his rookie or second year. I think his third season he took maybe a little bit of a step back, and maybe that had to do with the suspension and just kind of a weird season for him and the Hawks. So Collins, he'll kind of have to prove it this year again, I feel like. As of right now, if I was the GM of a team, I wouldn't offer Collins a max contract. I think there's just too much unknown there, defensively and efficiency-wise and all sorts of stuff like that. I do like Collins as a player, but I don't know if he's worth the max contract, and I think the Hawks are right to kind of wait this out. But what does this signal in regards to a potential trade? Because Collins is only making about $4 million a season, I believe, and he will be, a coveted trade asset now that he's on this expiring contract, because maybe the Hawks don't want to keep him around, especially with the way that they've kind of changed this team since he's gotten there. They've brought in Clint Capella via trade and then just drafted Onyeka Okongwu in the first round. Now, maybe they're just drafting for best player available, right? And if they felt like Okongwu was the best player there, then they just decided to take him, whatever. But it does create kind of a weird crunch in their front court, whereas you're going to want Capella to start because he's the veteran. Obviously, Collins has played well enough to start to this point in his career, and Okongwu will probably come off the bench for right now, but what if, 2-3 years down the road, they're all going to want to, challenge for playing time, and in that case, you're going to have maybe Collins from the small forward, which is kind of awkward. It's kind of a weird thing. And they also still have Gallinari on the roster, as well as, guys like Kevin Huerter and DeAndre Hunter, Cam Reddish, all, playing that similar position there. So the Hawks have kind of a weird glut of talent in their front court, and that's never really a problem to have too much talent, but maybe they kind of want to spread that out. Maybe get, a backcourt partner for Trae Young or some other depth elsewhere, and maybe they want to, flip Collins for either picks or some other pieces that might fit a little bit better on this roster, by signaling that he might not be in their long-term plan. So it's going to be kind of interesting to monitor moving forward whether this is a case of the Hawks saying, hey, we don't think this guy can, be a part of the eventual championship team that we're trying to build. We don't think he is really that guy for us. Whether it's the case of that, or it's a case of, hey, we weren't willing to go the max contract, but we still want to keep him around. We'll see how he plays this year and reassess next offseason. And so that's kind of, you can go one way or the other, but it is looking a little bit more likely now that we might see some John Collins trade rumors throughout this season, and that's going to be really interesting to monitor because he's definitely a guy that a lot of other teams are going to look to get their hands on. It's almost impossible to speculate what team could possibly trade for Collins, and that's, part of that is because he is on that rookie contract, so you don't really have to match any money. Any team could scrape together, 2 minimum contracts and then throw them together with a bunch of picks and, form a package that the Hawks might want to take a look at. Or if you're flipping him for another player on their rookie deal, or maybe aggregating him, like say the Hawks did something crazy and packaged him along with Danilo Gallinari to make up a ton of money, and then potentially try to bring in another max contract type of player. That would be kind of crazy, but it's something that it's something to think about. It's something that the Hawks can certainly have on their radar, potentially packaging some of these assets together, because they've got a lot of young talent on this roster, and if they really want to go all in, for the next couple of years, they have some ammunition here to make a big trade, and Collins would definitely be a centerpiece of that. So it's just going to be kind of interesting to see which direction the Hawks go from here, and with all of this rookie extension stuff going on, I think John Collins not coming to an agreement with the Hawks is probably the most interesting one out of all of them. Anyway, that's all I have for you on the Hawks and John Collins today. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. Like I said at the top of the video, if you're new, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, ring the bell if you want to, leave a comment letting me know what you guys think about this. Where's the potential trade destination for John Collins? What should the Hawks do from here? Because it's a very interesting and a pretty unique scenario here now. They're kind of at a standstill, and we'll see if anything materializes before the trade deadline, or whether or not they just end up getting a deal done in restricted free agency next offseason. And I also do want to mention that I have started bringing back my NBA picks because the season has started. I did this through the playoffs last year, where I picked the winner of every game. And I'm going to be doing this again. I'm going to try to do it for every single game for the entire regular season. All of that is going to be over on TikTok and Twitter, splitting between the two. So if you're interested to see what I'm thinking about certain games each night, I'm going to be picking the winners of every single game for all season long. And then at the end of the year, we're going to look back and see how accurate I was with my predictions. It's going to be that's a lot of games. That's 1,080 games total in the NBA this year, and we'll see how many of them I get right. With all that being said, I will see you guys in the next one.